What we're looking at here is the new Tube Frog. I'm not sure that this is going to be the production version. There are a couple little things that I'd like to go over that may make a difference. Alright, let's top this off. Probably doesn't need it from the look of it, but top it off anyway. And we'll be back in a few minutes to demold. Alright, we're back. I took a box of trash out to the dumpster while I was waiting. And let's see if we can get this to demold. That's the first part that's kind of neat. Well, that's pretty good. That wasn't too bad. Now I guess it's time to go out to the pool and see what it does. No idea if this is visible on camera or not. But we got the first prototype here of the hollow body Tube Frog. And it does not float that hook. Failure. Well, I have to tell you that was pretty disappointing. I've got ideas about what I'm going to do to continue the idea forward, and I've had second or other thoughts about this particular design as well. And I'm going to kind of go over everything now. If all you wanted to see was whether or not it worked, turn the video off now. If you want to know where I'm going with this in the future and what my thoughts were, hang around a minute and I'll tell you. The first thing is I wanted it to be able to float this heavy wire hook, because I think most people who want a floating frog are going to be fishing it over, in, and through cover, and they're going to want to use heavy braid or at least medium braided line, and they're going to want to be able to horse a fish out of the trash without straightening out the hook. I mean, you can straighten out any hook, but you know what I mean. And it didn't do it. You saw that in the video already. It sank. It sank slowly, but it sank. And so that's a failure. What my thoughts are is to make this just a little bit more rounded body, so it's a little thicker to the top and maybe a little deeper on the bottom, so I can go to a 3/8 or even a 1/2 inch diameter insert instead of this 5/16 diameter insert. You know, you'd think, wow, that's a lot of air. Well, it wasn't enough, apparently. The difference between the weight of the displaced air and the hook just wasn't enough. Now, the plastic itself does float. I took it off the hook, tossed it in the water. It floated just fine, but that's most plastisols are slightly buoyant unless they're specifically marketed as sinking. So I was hoping between the slight buoyancy of the plastic itself and the air pocket, it would float. I was wrong. I failed. It didn't work. Like I said, if that's all you wanted to know, stop watching. The other thing is, well, there were a couple of things. And the change that I just discussed makes a good idea for other reasons as well. By making the bait a little bit taller this way, or a little bit more round, I'll have more plastic on the top. Right now, the amount of plastic above that air pocket feels really thin, so I think it's going to tear up fairly quickly, even if you used a medium hard or a hard plastic. Alright? Whereas at the bottom, it feels fairly solid. So if I could get that much plastic, top and bottom, with a larger air cavity in the middle, I think we'd be on the right path. Now, not really related to, and not as important if this had floated, was my idea was that this could also be a buzz frog, but different from my curly buzz frog. It'd have paddle feet, tail feet, you know, that kind of look like frog feet. And it had a problem that I actually described to somebody a while back when he whined that my curly tails go like this instead of like this. He said, "Frog's feet stick out, they don't stick in." Well, I told him the reason I designed it that way is if they stuck out, they'd push together and they'd get tangled up. Well, guess what? When I try and use this as a buzz frog, sometimes these push together and they go like that and they stop kicking. What's really frustrating is it's my own fault, because I originally designed this so that these stuck out more like this, and that wouldn't have been a problem. Even if they pushed in as far as they could go from that, they wouldn't have touched and got tangled up. And the only reason that I pulled them together was out of pure stupid cheapness. I was trying to make it fit on a smaller piece of aluminum to save money so I could make an extra buck. Well, I'm not going to make an extra buck to send you a crap product. So the next time I make it, the feet are going to probably be, the legs are going to be more like this. The feet will be angled about the same as they were, but the legs will be further apart. That way they can't tangle with each other, and it can also work with a Buzz Frog. And one of my ways that I thought I might save this design was to just eliminate the insert and sell it as a Buzz Frog. Maybe add a hook slot on the bottom instead of having the hollow that's in it now. But even if I do that, I need to spread those legs out so that those feet don't push together and tangle each other up. So yes, there are plans. You might see I got all fancy and added eyeballs onto it to make it more appealing to the angler. The fish don't care. But as it is, it's a failure. If you want to play with this prototype mold, send me a PM on tacklemaker.info and make me an offer. It has to at least cover shipping. It might, by the way, it might be okay as a solid body bait. You just use the insert like this instead of like this. And those legs might not those feet might not tangle if you used a medium hard or a hard plastisol, which was one of my thoughts for it as a floating frog anyway, not as a Buzz Frog. But also if you used a medium hard or a hard plastisol, the tails might not kick. As it is now, the tails actually do kick, but they get tangled fairly often, and that's when they stop kicking. So, you know, that part is okay. But anyway, if you want this mold, there's only ever going to be one of them, this one. Go on tacklemaker.info and send me a PM and make me an offer. If you're waiting for the good one, well, this one might be a good one if you're better at making use of stuff than I am. But if you want the good one, the final one, you're going to have to wait till at least version 2.